Hello, YouTube. I thought, I hope everyone is having a fabulous weekend. Whatever you're doing with your friends, family, or yourself, I hope everybody's having a good time. Be safe. My son is at his last rehearsal for his cotillion. His cotillion is in December the 6th, which is in 2 weeks. And I'm excited. I wasn't going to go because it's so expensive. They want $160. Like, damn. Just to dress up and eat. And it's funny because as you get older, it's not even because, I don't make money like that. But you start to see, like, life is really redundant. It really is. Like, you know, um, now for me, um, I've never been to a cotillion, and this will be my first, and this is my son's first. He's in it, but I feel like it's a little overrated. It is. And then I've been invited to a banquet, and that banquet is compared to other church banquets, is not as much because growing up, I remember they always announced, those of y'all who grew up in a black church, they always had banquets, but it would be like $100, $150. And for me, I grew up in church, but I never went to a church banquet or whatever. And I always wanted to go. And then now I realize all it is dinner and dressing up. That's all it is. A former coworker of mine, we met actually in a school that I worked at in my neighborhood 2 years ago. And then we reconnected through a mutual friend who opened up a bakery. And the owner, I went to school with her, and I don't know how she knows the owner, but yeah, so we have mutual people in common, so we reconnected, and she's being ordained, and they having like a thing for her. But it's like, damn, things cost money, and a lot of things are overrated, like overpriced. I took my family to Jimmy Fallon, I think I told y'all, and it was cute, little 10-minute little, it's like a haunted house, but $40 times 3, that was, it's a little steep, but today I just wanted to talk about the recent experience. So my son, I think I told y'all, he goes to charter school. We don't live in the best neighborhood, so it's like you either send your child to the neighborhood schools that's not going to teach them nothing because of the behaviors are so bad, or you send them to charter. You don't really have a choice. And for me, I went to private schools, so naturally that's what I wanted for my son without breaking my pocket. So that's when charter school come into play. But now that he's in 11th grade, I really realized that certain things they do it so they could look good. Like, so for the first time, his high school is fairly new. Like, it just opened up in 2017. That's pretty new. And Uncommon Charter Schools opened up when he was born, 2008. So it's kind of like a new thing, whatever. When he went to kindergarten, Uncommon was only about 3 or 4 years old. So it's basically like one of those charters that's not that old, right? Most of them about 10, 15 years old. You have charter schools like Kippa, they actually are like 30 years old, because there's people my age who went through Kippa and graduated. But basically the sole purpose of charter schools was to give your child a private education for free. That's what it basically is. It originally started as a lottery, and then now you could just apply or whatever. A lot of people don't like it because, unfortunately, with black people, it's crabs in a barrel. And so what I noticed, if your child is doing well, a lot of people don't want to see that. It's a kind of, when you grow up in a black community, if you have a better education, it's like, oh, you think you all that because of X, Y, and Z. But then if you send your child to a bad school, it's like, well, what type of parent are you? So it's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. And I would tell, that's my message in this video today, is make sure whatever decision you make, you could sleep well at night with it, because nobody could take care of your child better than you, right? So for me, I'm not really a strict parent, but I am a cautious parent, right? So, most decent schools, they go abroad. So this year, this is the first year that they're going abroad. They're actually taking the kids to Spain. But I already had it in my mind to take him abroad anyway, since he's older now and he could appreciate it. When he was younger, that wasn't my focus, because I felt like, how would he be able to appreciate it? So I just stuck to like amusement parks and stuff. So now that he's older, he's gonna be 16, I was like, yeah, take him to like Europe and stuff over the break. But and not for no 8 days, I'll probably do like 4. But they're taking them to Spain for 8 days, but they're only picking 20 kids. It's 500 kids in the school and they're only picking 20. So I get an email saying that parents cannot come. So for me, being the parent that I am, I told my son, you can't go, because you're not going to tell me that I'm supposed to trust you. I don't even know you. You're my son's, because like, that's another thing. Like my son Dean, he's like a new dean or whatever. He's been with Uncommon, he said 10 years. He's new to the high school, so I think he came from another Uncommon. But regardless of the fact, I don't really know this dude, and I know his teachers are not gonna go. They're probably gonna be teachers from like another Uncommon going. But I don't think that's right to tell parents that they can't come. It's too much going on in the world to talk about a person's parent can't come. That to me is very strange. I know people do it, but let's talk about Holloway for a second. I forget her first name, but anyway, a young lady from 2005. She went on her senior trip to Aruba. Now everybody knows Aruba is a beautiful island. A lot of people go on there for vacation. And unfortunately, her body was never found, right? And I always told myself that dirty boy band scam. Oh, Netflix got some commercials on. Okay. I'm definitely gonna check that out. Dirty boy band scam. But yeah, so I already made up in my mind. I was like, if my son's school ever go abroad, I'm gonna go with him. It's too much going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I wouldn't go that whole 8 days. I would go like half the time. But they let me know that they would let me, they would get back to me. And it's like, I'm happy that I read the email today to say, no, you can't come. Yeah, my child is not gonna come either, because no. And I know for a fact, and that's another PSA announcement I wanted to make. I've been a sub-para since 2016, and I've been on many trips with many classes. The teachers do not watch your kids. You know who's watching your kids? The paras, if they have paras in the room, right? And the only way they really watching them like that is if they're special needs. Like most adults, that's just like where I didn't know it until my son told me when he was 10 how like my father wasn't really watching him like how he was supposed to. Like, you think your kid is in good hands, but a lot of people do not watch kids. Like, I remember like when my son was little, taking him to the park, and there was me and a few parents that were watching the kids. Like, I was watching my son. I paid, close proximity. If he was on the swing, I was pushing him. If he was going down the slide, I was waiting for him to come down the slide. I was that type of parent. However, you had parents that were just sitting on the bench, letting they 3 and 4-year-olds play. And it's like, no, you're supposed to get your ass up. And I remember making a post on Facebook like, it's okay to stay home with your kids. Okay? If you know you don't have the energy to take them out to the park, it's better for you to be home with them. This way, if you're not really watching them and they, at least if they get into an accident, it will be in your house. Versus you taking them out in public and not watching them and something happen, that's worse. Right? But I took my son out all the time, but best believe there was times when I just didn't want to do it. You know, it was very rare that we would stay home. But if I really was that tired or that busy, we're staying home. I'm not taking you to, and that's my whole thing. And so I said that to say this. If you have parents who don't even watch their kids, or grandparents or aunts and uncles that's not watching their nieces and nephews, imagine a teacher that don't have no blood relation. They not watching your fucking kids. And I felt like I was kind of skeptical in making this video, but I said, I feel like parents need to know, And even with my son's school going abroad, I feel like, I don't know any of the parents, but I feel like if we was to come together and say, yo, y'all can't take our kids nowhere unless if we come too, they can't do the trip. But nobody's going to do that. Because some people, they don't mind getting rid of their kid for a week or so. Like, yeah, bye, arrivederci. But for me, not just because he's my only child, but I'm a caring parent, I'm not a strict parent, I'm a cautious parent. And so for my 16-year-old, because he's going to be 16 next month, they supposed to be taking this trip in April. For my 16-year-old to go abroad, no, I'm coming. Like, other parents allow it and whatever. No. Like a girl I went to school with, I think she put her son going to Japan. I'm like, you not going? Like, why you not going? You don't know he in another country, you don't know what can happen to him. It's too much sex trafficking out here. It's too much going out. Even if when they grown, I told my son, even when he's grown, like, I would never want him to go by himself. Or, like, he not by himself, he gonna be with his school, but no. No. I know when he gets grown in his 20s, I'm always going to worry. Not worry, but I'm always going to be concerned because I'm his mother, and that's how I am for everybody, Like, I knew somebody who he used to travel by himself, and I'm like, he's very smart, so I wasn't worried about him. But even still, like, you got to be careful. You don't have... And he had 2 siblings. He had a brother and a sister. I'm like, they can't come with you? At least try to situate your schedule so y'all can all go together as a family. Why go by yourself if you have siblings? I don't even have siblings, but I'm not traveling by myself. If my father needs to come with me, or like my son, somebody coming with me. But and then with the Cecil hotel, the Asian girl went missing, and then her body was found in the water tank. Like, it is too much going on when people be traveling abroad, because she was from Canada, so her coming to LA, that was abroad. You hear so much shit, like, nah. No ma'am, no sir. And then, like, with my son's school, he goes to Uncommon. They don't want parents to come because it's all so Uncommon is a non-profit, so they want to be able to brag and say, oh yeah, we pay for the kids, because charter schools was invented and able to strive and thrive in very poor black areas, because poor black areas have the worst school systems. Now, there's different theories as to why, but those are the facts. Like, if you look up like black public schools in like East New York, Brownsville, most of the kids cannot read. That's why you have a lot of adults that don't do well in college, not because it's expensive, but a lot of people cannot read. They can read as far as the cow jumped over the moon, but when it comes to comprehension, it's just not there. That's why if you ever notice, you have some people that say they don't want to text. It's not that they don't want to text, it's hard for them to read. That's something that people don't want to admit to. Now some people do read and understand or whatever. Some people do. And then other people, they're not used to reading. So them reading, you think it's nothing because you're writing it. But to somebody who doesn't read on a normal basis, you sending them a text of 3 and 4 paragraphs is overwhelming because it's not a part of their lifestyle to read. For me, I'm used to it because I read, right? I have comprehension skills. You have people who they cannot comprehend even when you're talking to them. You say apples, oranges, and bananas, and they're saying grapes and cranberries. I didn't say grapes and cranberries. I said oranges, apples, and bananas. They can't comprehend. It's not there. Right? So, yeah, reading is important. And a lot of the children from the urban areas can't do it because of the behaviors in the classroom. If a child can't behave and you got them running around and stuff, how much are they going to really learn when their learning is constantly being interrupted? Can't really accomplish much, right? So that's how the charter schools were able to come in, like Columbus, and take over. And I was thinking about that too. I was like, all of us are guilty of it. We all fell for the charter school scam. And I say it's not a scam because our children are learning, but it's kind of sad that when we as a people, we can't educate our own kids and we need the white man to rescue us. Because who's running the charter schools? The white man. Most of the charter schools have white principals, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for it. But it's just sad that it takes another entity to educate our kids because we don't know what we're doing, right? That's really sad. The only white people going to charter schools is the ones that live in bad areas. People who live in good areas, they send their kids to public schools because those public schools are thriving and striving. So what does that say about us as a people? And I was telling my Uncle Billy, I was like, those schools have black principals, right? And black teachers. So what does that really say about our people? And then I went to decent private schools, but like I told y'all, my high school was bootleg. It was all black, and it was in the suburbs, but it was bootleg. Like we didn't even have a gym. It was ghetto. Like I wish I would have went to public school for high school, because at least you have your lockers, you have your clubs, you have your different activities. We didn't have nothing in my high school. I had more activities in my elementary. I had lockers in elementary school, 5th and 6th grade, well, junior high. 6th grade, we had lockers in 5th grade too. 6th grade, I was switching classes, as you should. I got to high school, we was in the same room all day long. Ghetto. And it was a black school, so it was a perfect example of like, and you got white schools that's ghetto too. They have a Netflix special it was this boarding school that was, I think I mentioned in the previous video. It just makes you think about your own institutions that you went to that was bootleg, because like the curriculum they had was bootleg and it wasn't accredited. That's fucked up too. And the parents was paying a lot of money, like $50,000 for tuition for 2 and 3 years. I'm like, where they get the money from? Like, you got that much money, you should be able to send your child to the best. They sent them to that place and in Connecticut, and it was bootleg. Like, they didn't have nothing. They didn't have no activities. They only did activities like once a year. They let them have like a prom or something one time, and then they put the picture on the thing. But they didn't have no basketball team. They didn't have none of that. No cheerleading squad. None of that. They just would have them dress up and take pictures. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. That's a scam. And then that school wasn't even accredited. The school they talked about on Netflix, like, it wasn't accredited. People couldn't get their, high school diploma and stuff. They either had to get the homeschool diploma or I guess a GED or something. But imagine spending 4 years somewhere and you don't even get a high school diploma. It's like, wow. At least my school was accredited. So thank God for that. All of us went to college. Some of us graduated, so yes, my high school was accredited. So when I did my FAFSA and they asked me what school you went to, my school was on the list. Yes. So. Yeah, so I would urge any parent, do the research before you enroll your child. My son is in Uncommon Charter High School. He actually wanted to go there, and we took the test for him to go to specialized public schools, but he failed. But I pushed that all day, Bronx Science. What else? They got Kingsborough High School. You have a lot of good public schools, y'all. The specialized high schools. Brooklyn Tech is still one of the best. So I would always push that. He's in the school he's in now because he failed the specialized high school test because he was what they call annotated. And I told him that in real life you cannot do that. You can't be annotated. You don't have time to do that, but that's what they taught him in charter school. You have to annotate. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And he only has a year and a half left. Like, it's almost December, so he's going to be a senior. And then that's it. He'll be done with high school. So he's already halfway through. It doesn't make sense for him to transfer now, so. But, yeah, it's just basically they're doing this thing where they're going to Spain to make it seem like, oh, we got these poor kids from the hood that can't afford it themselves. They're probably going to say something like that, and they don't want the parents to pay. Like, they don't want us to come because they don't want us to have to pay. But my child is not going nowhere without me. I don't care. Like, like, even him going with his father's family, I'm skeptical about, because he told me how, like, even when he was little, he was like, nobody's really watching them. Like, one time he got lost in Six Flags, and I just pray, that's all I can do as a mother. And he's going on a cruise this year. So my son is well-rounded. He went on his first plane ride at 3. And, he's lit. So I planned on taking him to Paris anyway. So that's where my mind was at. And it's like, you know what? Let somebody else go on the trip who's never been. So yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to know the thoughts of the parents out there. If you have kids, if your child was gonna go abroad, would you be upset that you couldn't come? I know for me, everybody's different. For me personally, no. Just like I didn't like Carnival because everybody was on their own and they weren't watching their kids. And one lady who didn't have any damn kids, she was like older than me. She's like, oh, I'm being overprotective. Like, bitch, until you have kids, then you could speak on it. But I said, that's not being overprotective. I actually give a fuck about my son. Overprotective is like picking your son up from school and he's like 15. That's overprotective. Or how my parents were. I was 21 and they were telling me I couldn't go out. That's overprotective, you know. Or like even after I moved out, my father, his rule was if I wanted to go to a party, I couldn't go. Even after I moved out, he was like, if you want me to watch your son, it has to be like a concert or a dinner. It can't be a party. But that was his way of controlling me even after I moved out. That's overprotective because, mind you, at this time, I'm in my late 20s and he's still telling me whatever. That's what you call overprotective. Or like my 26th birthday, he's like, mind you, it's my birthday. I was turning 26. And he's like, you can't go to no bar, nothing after the play. I went to a play, but my former friend, she couldn't make it to the play because she was in graduate school. She had class. So she was like, I can't make it, but can we do something after? I said, yeah, we can go to a bar or whatever after. So she did come to the bar, but she couldn't make it to the play. So mind you, we was only in the bar for like an hour or two, and we left. And I got home at like 1 o'clock the latest, and my father had a tantrum. He was like, oh, I told you not to go nowhere after the play. You were supposed to come pick up Antonio, that's my son. He's like, you supposed to come pick him up directly up after the play. Like he was livid. He was very upset, and then accused me of being drunk. I'm like, I'm not drunk. I had a few drinks. I had like 1 or 2 drinks, but I'm not drunk. And it's like, I'm 26 years old. It's not like I leave my son with you for days at a time or some, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a crackhead, so why are you talking to me like I'm a crackhead? Like, that's overprotective, trying to like tell your kids what to do and they're in their 20s and they don't even live with you. Or like, I remember another time I went to a Love and Hip Hop boat ride, and so my father goes, had he known it was Love and Hip Hop, he would never agree to watch my son. And he was livid. He was going in like, how can you go to a boat ride like that? And it's an abomination. I said, first of all, most people lifestyles is worse than Love and Hip Hop. Like, first of all, on Love and Hip Hop, at least they take care of their kids. They take care of their main kids and their outside kids. Most niggas from the hood, they ain't taking care of shit. And then on top of that, none of them are ministers and pastors. None of them said they were saved. They worldly men doing worldly things. And not to mention the women, they all got businesses. So I don't see what the problem is. Yeah, they have their flaws, but all of them are good fathers. They're in their children's lives. And when they do cheat and do what they do apologize. And I put that up on Facebook one time. I said, y'all are so upset about Love and Hip Hop, but y'all never even been on vacation with y'all man. Y'all never even been on a date. On Love and Hip Hop, they showing you the positive side. The men at least say they sorry. They don't put their hands on the women. How many of us know of people in domestic situationships? They're not even in relationships. They just having sex, having babies, and getting beat. They not going on dates. They not doing nothing. At least Love and Hip Hop, they going outside. Peter Guns at least threw a dinner party for her, and he apologized. They went on vacation with the kids. You know, a lot of people are not doing that. So it's like, you know, abomination. What? I had a good old time. And he was like, how was it? And I sent him pictures. You know, so that's strict. That's what you call being overprotective. But I'm not overprotective. I'm just protecting my son and being a normal mom, you know. So, or like being overprotective, I would say, no, you can't go nowhere with your father and his family or whatever. That's reaching, you know. Because I had one guy who tried to talk to me we was talking, and he was like, "Do you know them?" And I'm like, "That's his father family, so whatever. That's his family. He has pretty, he's pretty good with who he lets around our son, and I trust him. Whatever. That's his family. So." But yeah, so I just wanted to know what's everybody's opinion. Like, me personally, yeah, my son is going to be 16, but no, he is not going abroad without me. He probably might have not, wasn't going to get picked anyway. I'm sure they're going to pick somebody that's really never been nowhere type stuff, because like I told y'all, there's only 20 kids that was going to be selected, and they had to fill out an application. So yeah. But what would you do if your child was going abroad? Those are my thoughts.